Libraries could be filled to overflowing with books on procrastination. Through my life and career, I've gone through countless self-help books that attempt to explain why people procrastinate, along with supplying strategies to help fix procrastination. However, out of all of those books, no one has really been able to capture the true problem with procrastination as well as Steven Pressfield did in his book, The War of Art. In the book, Pressfield compares procrastination with being an alcoholic. If you're like me, when I first heard this comparison, I was a bit skeptical. I had a hard time connecting myself pushing off writing a blog post until tomorrow with being an alcoholic passed out on the sidewalk in front of a bar. However, I chose to continue reading on. Pressfield gave procrastination a name, calling it the resistance. And that was something that I could relate to. Whenever I come across a challenging task, it's as if there's this little constant voice in my head saying, wouldn't it feel better to just push this off until tomorrow? Usually followed up by saying something like, you'll be excited to do this tomorrow. And when I give in to the voice, it's as if I took a shot of happy pills. I instantly feel as though a weight has been lifted off my shoulders and I feel happy. However, when tomorrow rolls around, I've discovered something new. The voice comes right back and it's still encouraging me to push the task off again. After going through this cycle of procrastination for years, I finally recognized the pattern. And Pressfield is right. Procrastinating on tasks has the same root cause as being an alcoholic. Alcoholics are willing to trade long-term joy, such as their careers or family life or anything like that, for short-term happiness. An alcoholic will trade all of that in simply for the sake of the feeling that a drink will give them at that moment. And this pattern is played out in the mind of all of us when we procrastinate. When we continually put off tasks until tomorrow, we're trading long-term success for short-term convenience. In a previous guide, I walked through my system for hacking procrastination, so I'm not going to reiterate all of those points. However, I don't like writing any guides that simply describe a problem without giving a solution. And therefore, I want to conclude this shorter guide by saying that the best way that I've discovered to fight procrastination is by taking baby steps. In his book, Many Habits, Stephen Guise made the concept of performing a single push-up a day famous. Guise was a self-proclaimed procrastinator who despised going to the gym and working out. However, one day he decided that he was going to create the mini goal for himself to perform just one push-up every day. By following this approach, he realized that the idea of working out was no longer a scary concept and therefore wasn't something to procrastinate about. Of course, doing one push-up a day would have limited health benefits, but what Guise discovered was that after performing that one push-up, he was usually in the mood for doing more push-ups. And eventually, his daily habit morphed into a full fitness regimen. I've discovered the same approach works with learning and development. When there is a task that I feel like pushing off, I'll tell myself that I only have to work on it for 25 minutes. By giving myself a doable goal, the task is far less intimidating, and therefore I don't feel the same resistance and desire to push it off. And if you may have noticed, if you remember back to when I talked about the Pomodoro technique, the 25 minutes fits perfectly in with that time slot. And another thing I've recognized is that very challenging topic that I had, or that very difficult task that I had, after the 25 minutes were up, it's usually pretty rare that I stick just to that 25 minutes. I'll usually extend it to an hour or even a couple hours, and before long, not only have I not pushed off that task to the next day, but instead I've accomplished more in an hour or two than I really even thought possible. Because the deeper I got into it and the more I was able to create a practical plan for working on the task or on the project, the easier it became and the less I wanted to push it off until the next day. And the end result from implementing this process has helped me get more done, and I no longer fear my daily to-do list.